What is happening, crew? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're coming from. Thank you for being here with us, spending your Sunday with us. We have a very special show today. Go for it, Dad. How are you, my guy?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm really excited about today's guest. I think his knowledge base is very broad, and I know him to be a great father and a great parent and a good man. So, with no further ado, let's bring on Zip from Zip's Tips. What would you like to be called? I know what your first name is, but what would you like to be called, Zip?
Hello, everybody. And Zip is fine.
Okay.
That's my nickname. That's what I'm called around my friends and other places. And yeah, Zip is absolutely awesome. I'm excited to be here with you guys today. Long term, obviously, Staple Crew member. Been following for many years, and you guys have absolutely been inspirational in my journey, in this crypto journey, as I like to call it. And one of the reasons I stepped up to kind of start a channel and really just trying to get the information out to the masses of the great technologies that are out there. And as you'll see it there, I'm a utility maxi. Most of my portfolio is all ISO 222 capabilities, real world real world utility, things that are going to solve a problem going into the future, and just watching the changing of the financial system right before our eyes, if you're looking at the macro view.
That's what I'm talking about. Everybody like in this chat knows, and for everybody tuning into our live chat today, and watching this show, thank you. We do want to feature our own, and when one of our own is inspired either by us or by themselves or however, and they go out and they have the calling to create something like this, we want to feature you and we want to give you a voice. And we're going to do that here. We're going to do that on Patreon. We're going to do that a lot in the future. And so happy to have you, Zip. We had a lot of questions that we would ask our guests in Vegas last year, and it became a lot of fun and it became a hit. Kind of first we'll just ballpark it here. Yeah, you know what? Scratch the list. What would you like to say to the chat? Because you've been involved in ours here for a little bit. What would you like to say to this group and this community, and what you and me and Alan and everybody in here are trying to build and trying to do together?
Well, I think that the biggest thing, Brent, is understand what you own, understand the precious, how unbelievably blessed we are to be able to be at the forefront of what is going on, to be able to be invested in XRP as an example. And again, I am diversified across the board, so I'm not a maxi in one coin or another. Absolutely love XRP in the bigger picture of what it's going to do from a financial perspective and kind of leveling the playing field, so to speak. But the broad spectrum of being able to be invested in XDC, HBAR, a lot of these real world SOB utilities that are actually going to make a difference and transform the financial environment. Again, but the big picture there, we are absolutely blessed. And if you don't think you're blessed, you may probably be looking at it in a different manner than I do, and maybe you, Brent and Alan, do. I came on, just a little background. So obviously I came onto the crypto scene in about 2019. And just to give some background, if we have time, so folks understand my journey through this, to maybe help them understand why I'm where I am today. But came on to crypto in 2019. And actually I have 3 sons, and it was my oldest son hit me up with this Bitcoin thing. And going even back further, in 2013, I did have the opportunity. The field that I work in, I am a cyber technology specialist. I do some work for the DoD. So I'm in the technology sector, very familiar with technology, network engineering, system administration. But back in 2013, was exposed to BTC and had individual come up to me and talk about mining and this new capability, blockchain and Bitcoin. And unfortunately, as for all of us, doors open, and sometimes it's the time to walk through those doors. Sometimes it's not, right? And my life experience at the time, I was going through some life challenges and just kind of turned away from it because I was too busy and focused in other areas. But again, we're supposed to be where we're supposed to be in my belief system and where I am. And the door opened up again in 2019, and my son hit me up with this BTC thing. And unfortunately, and this is part of why I have the channel, it was a scam. So I got into it, and it ended up getting taken for quite a large sum of money. And unfortunately, that's what happens to a lot of the folks. And that's why part of the inspiration that Alan and you guys have inspired me to do is really, I'm trying to prevent people from losing money. Okay. Now, with that being said, everything in this environment is obviously risk, and that's part of investing. And I'm not a financial investor, don't want to be. And I just give my practical advice, but did lose some money in 2019. And then I started listening to different content creators out there, you know, influencers, whatever they want to call us. I'm just someone just living in this world trying to get the information out. But and came across, you know, all the digital asset investor and a lot of the bigger influencers that have been out there, and Brad Kimes, and started listening to his show, and then started hearing about these other technologies, one of those being XRP. And immediately, having a technical background, I dug into the technicals and what it actually meant from a DLT perspective, and you know, walked through the door at that point and started really purchasing XRP. And from there, it's just been a journey of exponential growth and understanding to all of these other real world utilities that, again, we are blessed to be invested in. And here I am today. And, you know, we're just watching all this unfold right before our eyes. And again, I believe I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be able to be on your show, be able to have relationships. That's the big key. As like I like to say on my channel, I'm building a relationship with people that we resonate together, so we could spend the rest of our days on the most beautiful beaches of the world, or the golf courses, or whatever you choose to do in your life. And that's the big picture for me.
Wow. We
Love it.
You know, we are blessed to have you, brother, and this is our channel for sure. What do you have for our brother, Dad?
I've got a little bit of a follow-up question of one of the great questions that we had in Vegas that we hit everybody with. Some might remember the interviews we did with Zach and his lovely wife Farah, and Dave and Judy. But my favorite question, and you're the one that came up with this one, Brent, was where do you see all this going? Zip, where do you see this going? I'll leave it broad so you can just run with it as far as where do you? I know all of us see us getting rich, great, okay, but I mean, where do you see the tech going in the future for people in crypto?
Yeah, I actually see it as a transformative environment, to where as they start tokenizing, and again, that's the key word, tokenization of everything, tokenizing US treasuries, tokenizing Wall Street, tokenizing real estate, tokenization of everything that we practically have around us that we can physically touch. And the big part of that is not so much the tokenization. Yes, that's going to bring a lot of liquidity and capability, which means, as you like to say, Alan, price go up. That's what we're here for a lot of times, right? But what the bigger picture is, at least how I understand it and believe, is it's going to allow everyone to be able to have a little piece of that pie, because they'll be able to buy parts of Wall Street in a less fractionalized way as it is today. All the big money, and let's just talk about real estate as an example. So we're talking about tokenization of real estate. So Zip will be able to buy a small fraction because it'll be on the blockchain and be able to buy a part of a New York condo as an example, whereas previously you've had to be an accredited investor or be in early, and you've had to have millions and millions and millions of dollars to get in on these type of assets. So it's kind of, again, I hate to coin the same term, but it's leveling the playing field so everyone has the capability. And then broadly, it's also geographically leveling the playing field to where institutionally, let's just pick a country that maybe has been unbanked up to this point, is going to have the capability to actually invest and change their lives, because they're going to be able to purchase things through the blockchain in a much easier facilitation than what it currently is. We have so many walls and so many things that are preventing us from being able to be invested. And again, we are blessed as Americans. I live in the United States. I think most of our folks here today are probably in North America at least. But there are so many other regions of the world that they don't have these capabilities. They're not there. So again, long story short, big picture, just leveling the playing field and having the ability for multitudes of people to have access to financial tools and capabilities to enhance their lifestyle.
Man, good call, Zip.
Love that. Love that
Yeah,
answer.
couldn't agree more. You're speaking so much too to before we started the channel, and a lot of the things that my dad taught to me, a lot of the law changes that happened in 2000s about the accredited investors, and I watched my father have this golden goose project, this thing that he had completely mapped out in his mind, and laws change overnight, and I watched my dad literally move countries to chase and pursue the same kind of opportunities. And I'm reminded of that and humbled of that when I get to come on here and I get to speak with people like the both of you and everybody in this chat. We've done a lot to try to create an advantage for ourselves and for our children and everybody around us. And Zip, you just made me think just now, with blockchain, it's like the use it and understand it. And I'm so excited for people to do that. This whole hold on, we get rich, buy Lambo thing. It just really doesn't resonate with me. It's even less and less so to where I was up very, very late last night thinking about it. I kind of want to tell people to take their Lambo and shove it. What it's just true, because the three of us know, and the amazing people in our chat know, when this thing comes forward and through, and the bull cycles come again, and we're actually prepared and ready for it, there's people like you who are out there that just want to teach, and they want to inspire, and they want to do it so much that they create their own community to do it. So Yeah, again, we are blessed to have you today.
Yeah, that is the bigger picture. It's the grounding, right? And again, I will tell you the reason I came into this was for the Lambos and was for the big houses and the yachts, and so I could have
Sure.
to do whatever. But if you are open-minded and to the world and you see the bigger picture, you begin to transform. But that's the key, and that's what I'm trying to teach my kids too, because they're at the point of Lambos and wanting this and that, and the things that really don't matter. It's about life and embracing what you can do when we do get the money, and the money's coming. There's no doubt in my mind with that. But the larger picture of that, it's not about material assets in my mind. And we will have those. There's nothing wrong with those at all, but it's just a matter of if that's your identity, those things are here today and they could be gone tomorrow. And that's what's so scary about some of this environment right now, because and this is not me talking down to any technology, meme coins or anything like that. But we see folks that come in and they're looking to get rich overnight. And the one thing I've learned through my education and going through things is it's more about wealth than being rich. You can be rich today and you can be broke again tomorrow. And it's just a different mindset when you look at wealth and generational wealth, and a lot of things that resonate with you, Brent and Alan, and what we're looking to do. And that's why you guys talk about IBC and a lot of the other things that go along with this environment. It's about creating that environment within our families that are carried on generationally. And that's, in my opinion, that's what wealth is about. And that's the transformative journey we're on. And that's just part of a conversation. But again, everyone is at a different place in their walk. And that's why I'm careful. I speak to the technologies. I kind of hype up some things here and there because it's kind of like a golden carrot, right? On the stick. I want to bring people in, and I know, because I know through my own journey, they're going to change as they become more experienced in this environment, right? They're going to have that change in the heart, so to speak.
Yeah, like you said, it's transformative. You said transformative environment, which I wrote down because it is, and you're right, and it's why I don't walk around and tell people to shove Lamborghinis up their asses. It's just not. It's all in good time.
Sure.
It's what patience is about, and life is about. And
Yeah.
I wrote this down too. Is it leveling the playing field? I hear my dad talk about that in all of his videos in one way or another. He's trying to connect the dots of all this life experience and this desire to seek out and understand what's out there. And him sharing it and putting it out there has been so fun to watch. And I did it a lot more when we first started the channel, but now I'm happy to be a part of this medium, and having you on today really inspires me in that. What are you inspired to do on your channel? You've kind of talked about how you feel about all this, but what is it that is really you? What's, when we watch your channel, years down the road like ours, what are we going to see? Who are you? Life stuff, like what, we brought up frequencies and all that. Like what are the other things that when you get down the road, we're going to see you?
Yeah, I think, and again, I think the journey is long. So looking 5 years down the road as we're transforming, I think we will go down many different paths. And one of the larger paths is, again, my channel will evolve into a community of discussing wealth and also using that wealth holistically to make the world a better place. Honestly, it's the long-term vision, and it may branch off into many other different things, but at the core thing will always be the heart of the people and where we're trying to guide folks to just to be better in the world. I mean, we have so much division in this world. We got so much, and this is going to sound conspiratorial, but probably not to this group. But the world that we're in, division is there purposely, and they want you, and you've heard this on other channels, they want you to look one way so you're not looking at the bigger picture and the macro view, so to speak. And they want to keep us divided, whether that is spiritually divided, whether it's financially divided, whether it's technologically divided. There's always a division there. And when we have that division, you then become such small little subset of communities and in your own little echo chambers. You cannot make a larger impact. And that's part of what the channel, my evolution will be and is really, there is no division. I don't care what your spiritual, guiding light is, so to speak. Now obviously there are some things where I'm just going to go, well, I can't resonate with that. And we may agree to disagree, but I'm not going to exclude you from the community or anything like that, as long as it's not creating a spirit of division. And that's just what this, that's what the world is. It's just, they're always trying to divide us into microcosms of different ideal thoughts and spectrum. So again, big picture, that's kind of where I see the channel going, and just again, looking at a bigger impact on this earth. And as the technology changes, we're all going to be part of that. I mean, we're going to be able to, as this technology changes, we're going to be able to make micro, payments and make money off of the blockchain by these ideas that we haven't even come up with yet. That's what's so exciting with. We don't even know what the future holds yet, because we are in such a nascent environment. We are so, I say this all the time, we are so early to this game, and it feels like we've been here for a long time. I said 2019 for myself, and I've got some bumps and I've got some bruises, but that's what has built the character in me. But we are still very early, and we're finally starting to see some of these puzzle pieces come together. And Alan is so great about the macro view and bringing everything together when he speaks. And many times I think it's lost upon folks how big of a picture he is actually presenting. But if you hear what he's saying and you start to tie some of these things together that you've heard for years and years, he's 10 years ahead. He's a time traveler. He's already seen, he's seeing a lot of that stuff. If you go back to his videos, your guys' videos 2-3 years ago, he was already speaking about where we are today. And he has that vision. Mine's more of a technical vision. I don't have that macroeconomic vision. I don't have the experiences that he has, but that's the point, bringing us all together as a community and not being divided, using each other's tools that are in each of our bags, so we can build something bigger and, have our voice heard, whether that's economically, politically, wherever you feel like you fit in that puzzle piece.
Everybody, welcome to the chat. If you're just coming in, our brother Zip here, check out Zip's tips on YouTube and on social media. He is speaking the kings right now, and I couldn't agree anymore with what you just said. And I speak on that very point in my life about division, because deep down, I want to create unity in all the rooms that I inhabit. What do you got cooking, Dad? You're doing so good listening today. So proud of you. I love you.
No, yeah, it's just kind of sort of surreal for me, because I'm sitting back listening to my buddy here, almost gave up his name. Zip talk, and he and I've talked on the phone quite a bit, or a few times, and every time I do, I get so much from it. He just explained that we all have different capabilities and assets, and like he explained what his are, and they're incredible. His depth of knowledge of, let's say, technology and where it's headed, or what it could be, or what we could use it all for, is probably his wheelhouse, right? But for all of us, we all have different abilities, and the key to what all of us have is, what do you believe is coming? What do you believe is going to work for you? What are you listening to? I always say this: be very careful what you absorb and what you read and what you're involved in, because when that, at the end of the day, what you consume and what you put in your mind and in your soul becomes your following day and your life. And it's such a spiritual lesson for us all, that we're all so excited, like Zip just said not long ago. We're years ahead of where everything's going, but like what you're putting in your head right now and your vision of what you want tomorrow to be can be tomorrow. And I really like that spiritual side of crypto. We're like 5 years ago, 10 years ago almost now, in crypto, when I first got started, it was like this let's get rich with the numbers. Here's the math. Adoption means this. What I'm sensing and what I'm hearing from people now is they're growing on a spiritual level. And it's more than just accountability and math in our government. It's like, I can do more. I'll start a YouTube channel. I'll be part of the family. I'll be part of the crew. I'll be part of the XRP army. And I believe it's coming. I believe well-being is going to happen to all mankind. That part is finally to the forefront of crypto now. I believe this is huge for mankind. Like, not huge for my wallet or my Lambo. It's huge for mankind. And that's something that Brent, you and I talked about since day one with crypto. And I hear it more and more and more. And I'm starting to see the channels that are growing are talking about that more and more. And the channels that aren't talking about those kind of things are sort of fading away. And it's like, oh, you guys still want to get in that old argument about this coin over that coin thing? No, man, we're talking about doing what's for people. And at what level can we all achieve that? And all of our consciousness focusing in that direction brings strength. And I like to say this: one person believing that tomorrow, through crypto or not, could be better than today is more powerful than millions who aren't thinking that way. And that's where my head's at. And I love that about our community, and it's growing that way. So
yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
What you both just said, whoo, it's why I'm still here. It's why I'm still talking about blockchain, is to try to inspire enough. We're not here to tell you to buy it. We're not here to tell you to do it. We're not here to tell you to do anything. We're inspiring that kind of shift. We're telling you that we're doing it, and we're thankful if you want to come along the ride with us, but know that we're on the ride because we believe that it could do some positive things for humanity, period.
Yep, absolutely. And again, Alan keyed in on it, and I didn't mention this. It's all about mindset, right? At the end of the day, your foundational principle is about mindset. And I say this all the time on the channel, and I'm sure folks get tired of hearing it. But again, it will resonate with those who it's supposed to resonate with. but Alan spoke directly to it. It's what you feed your soul with, your mind with. And I learned that a long time ago, even before crypto. I didn't understand it, quite honestly, but many of us can relate to, if you wake up in the morning and that first thought you have is negative, and you continue down that path of negativity, it seems like the rest of your day unfolds the same. And that's basically what Alan was just saying. So I'm a mindset focused person. I make sure the first thought is positive. And even if it wants to creep in negative, I'm in the gym early in the morning and I make sure I tune myself to positivity. Now, that doesn't mean that negative things don't happen, but how you handle those negative events, I have learned, makes all the world a difference of how big of a tsunami of negativity comes into your life. So it's really about mindset. And as Alan said, the books you read, I mean, I'm an avid audio listener. So I'm not a big reader. I have a lot of downtime. So when I'm traveling in the morning to my current job, I've got 40, 45 minutes and I'm constantly feeding me with positive books, positive content, whatever the case may be. Anything, again, going back a little while ago, anything that's not divisive. And that's why years ago I blocked out. I haven't watched the normal news, as we call it, for many, many years purposely. And it's not that I'm not in tune with what's going on in the environment, but I want to be careful because they generally have their own purview and it's kind of slanted a certain way. So I want to build my own. I want to understand what's going on and then build my mindset around that and utilize it to stay positive with. So again, that mindset. But yeah, Alan, and that's why you guys have resonated with me for so long.
So glad we have. I'm so glad that inspiration is what's real, and you speaking the way that you're speaking to all of us right now, it's so refreshing. It's charging, my dad and I up. I know we talk about this kind of thing. It's to hear from all of you and to hear that kind of sentiment and to put things like that I've said and my dad said and how you feel really and articulate it's really cool. This is something we really got to do more. Everybody who's in here with us week to week, you're on call. Okay, you're on the list. So if you want to echo what the community is talking about, if you want to speak directly from your own wisdom and what you've gathered and put together, we want to hear from you. It's all of you are just as smart as Alan and I are. My dad is gifted in connecting those dots, and he's so passionate, even more so than I am, about trying to get that done for us. And all the other layer cake and depth of what it is to be a human and to try to, advance and to try to connect other people. That's somewhere where I live, in my mind and my heart every single day. I care about all of you a lot, and that's why this thing is so fun. We're not sitting here on Sunday talking about which coin or that coin, are we, gentlemen?
No,
No.
This baby's layers deep. This is tiramisu here.
Well, that's the thing. And that's why I'm not a maxi in one coin. I don't believe there's going to be one winner take all. It's got to be an interoperable world. And we know all these different technologies and where they're going with it. Now, granted, XRP, if you're holding XRP and that's the only, and I hear Alan say this all, if you're holding XRP and that's the only thing you hold, you're in for a bright future financially, but you got to make sure your mindset and your other stuff is all established. And that's what you guys are training folks that sudden wealth syndrome is a real thing. So if you get this money all of a sudden and you haven't prepared accordingly, which is what the Staple Crew has been preparing you for, you're going to be in for a rough ride, because you're going to have all this liquidity and capital come in and not understand the bigger picture. But again, going back, I'm not an XRP maxi. I'm invested in everything across the board, because you've heard Brad Garlinghouse say this many times too. It's not one winner take all. All boats are going to rise, but the boats that are going to rise are the utility boats, in my humble opinion. And that's why when we talk about HBAR and what they have going on, I mean, I love HBAR. I think you guys probably do too. It's one of those huge projects that we haven't even seen a fraction of what capability HBAR is going to have yet. In XDC, the same way, trade finance and what they're doing in the trade finance sector, as well as WAs that are going in there. And you guys know XDC is moving to the US. That's the fun part about this. Now that the US has finally, and it's almost like it's been a plan, right? I don't know. Let's not go conspiratorial, but it's almost amazing how everything is falling together. But as the US is coming on board now, and we finally have an administration that is backing it, we have Congress passing stablecoin legislation that's going to get done this year. I don't know how fast, but it's coming. And I know we say we probably, I've heard, I don't know if regulation is the right thing, but it's the way that the world works. And we need the regulation so the institutional values, the big boys, really can start to come in the banking industry and the financial industry can flip the switch, so to speak, and come in. We're seeing the SEC and the transformation of, hey, man, they're dropping cases left and right, are they not? And who knows what happens if the Ripple case gets dropped or not, or what happens with that. I think the Ripple case is a little bit more convoluted and complicated because they have had a judge ruling on it. So it may not be able to be unwrapped as easily as some of the other ones, but I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. So we'll see what happens. But we can see the big picture of what I was getting to, is that the U.S. is finally leading the charge, and we're seeing the world is going to follow that charge because we have the largest capital markets in the world. So with the U.S. full backing now, I think that we're actually finally seeing a transformative force, and it's going to be I like to say we're going to thrive in 2025, and then throughout the 2030, it's just going to be one hell of a ride.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Love that. There's a quote right there.
I wrote it down. I heard SEC dropped Coinbase case this week. Is that true, guys?
Yeah, it's true. Dude. There's something that was brought up just a couple of minutes ago that I want to get into a little bit here. And it's not a caution, and I'm not meaning to put fear in anybody's minds at all. But I want you to be aware of what's happening on the back end of what's happening with crypto right now. I don't know if too many people heard this, but NASDAQ is looking about putting XRP and Litecoin's ETF on the NASDAQ. Mm-hmm. And before you run around patting everybody on the back who owns both of those coins, which I do, that's a great thing. And that's an incredible thing in the world. In particular, if you own those coins, you're going to prosper. There's a downside. And I want to explain this. And I don't know that it's factual or it's going to happen or it's predestined or any of those things. But it's something you might want to put in the back of your mind. When an organization, if you will, like NASDAQ or Wall Street gets involved, their consuming of your ideas has been evident for 100 years. They come in and they take your technology and they use it for their own resource. Okay? So you mentioned a coin or two that would be vulnerable, in my opinion, such as XDC. When NASDAQ comes along and starts posting up all these other ETFs, and it's on the NASDAQ and it's on exchange, and you can I'm going to use this terminology not in the manner that's really, but co-mingle all of these assets. You can trade dollars for stocks, for crypto, for all of that. And that's exactly what they're doing with the ETFs. Exactly. Okay. Your need for things such as XDC, for instance, is less necessary. Uniswap becomes virtually non-existent, if you know what I'm saying. That's the downside. The plus side is, hey, they're listing our coin on one of the largest markets on the planet. So the coins, what you're going to need to do is really follow which coins they're picking and why they're picking them. And by the way, when XRP is $15, it's not too late. What $2.50 to $15 tells you is that's the one they chose. And I know we're all about utility, and I know that we're all about the use case, and I get all that. But what I'm trying to plant in your mind is, when they choose something, it's a go, baby. I don't even care if it even is relevant. Let's backtrack a little bit. How many companies on Wall Street right now are even relevant? 10%, maybe. Yeah. The rest are zombies, but their stock go up, right? Mm-hmm. So all of that is just, I want everybody to think big picture. There's a lot of pluses with the OTC and everybody else coming in and, oh man, they chose my coin and man, this is awesome. This is so great. There's going to be other coins that are going to fall by the wayside because their utility case is exactly what Wall Street's going to steal. Just throwing that out there. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen to XDC at all. That is not what I just said. I love that project. Brent and I and Quincy I can't wait to see him in Vegas, and we're going to hang out. And I love the project, and I think it has a bright future. And Wall Street, or for instance, NASDAQ might just say, hey, we really like their kit here. We're going to go ahead and use this gear. So we don't know that, right?
God, that is such an important point, Dad. Everybody rewind that one. That's utility case. Now good, but what does the future hold for your coin, for your token, for the said project that you like the name of, or you heard somebody tell you to buy? It's where the vision comes in. It's where the research comes in. It's where the, you follow somebody like Alan, where they are trying to connect the dots for you and give you that kind of, hey, we need some wisdom here. We need to bring the wisdom to the forefront. It can't be about get rich quick. That's going to work for people now, but the people in this community are not now people. We are vision long-term people. Even if we have, and Zip mentioned it today, and I will back him up completely. I am, bruised and banged up, and oh my arm, it's broken. That I've done all that in crypto. I've fallen off the front of my bicycle and knocked my 2 front teeth out. Like it's a ride. And, to echo what you said earlier, Zip, you need to, like, there's gotta be caution in that. Like you have to take stock and account of what you have and what you're doing, and to just buy something just because, and not even just look at what it is in terms of like the crypto spectrum, but what companies and what utility it has and what it does, and how everything else that exists already is going to need to find a home. You know, stocks and bonds and
Yeah.
treasuries and all these things. They're going to have to find a new home in the future, in the coming technologies and the coming waves of how we're all going to transform. And, you know, is your coin, is your token, is your project going to be in the wake of that? Is it going to be adopted by that? These are important questions to ask ourselves.
Yeah, and that's why that's the macro view, right? It's we like to say set it and forget it, but you really can't in this environment. You've got to stay attuned to what is going on and what Alan was speaking to from the macro level, because as he said, when they pick certain project or they pick certain technologies and they're all in, if there are other projects and capabilities from a technical perspective that are very similar, those will fall off of the train, so to speak. And you just got to be, and that's part of what the channel's about, is kind of keeping people up to date. You may be in a project and you may have to roll out of that and swap into something else, which I have done because of certain environmental changes that are going on in the, you know, in the technology, whether it's a partnership, whatever the case may be, or the larger institutional values that they're picking and choosing what technology they want to use. So it's a very dynamic environment, but that's why it's kind of called investing. And, you know, and I'm more of a traditional investor. Again, that's why my portfolio is so diverse. And I have been in projects for years and years. I was in VeChain as an example. I loved VeChain for many, many years. And I was in very, very early with VeChain. But I started to see some things. And I'm not saying, and again, if you're a VeChain holder, this is not to put shade on that project. I'm not saying it's not going to be big, but it's all timing for me. And anyhow, it got to a point to where I'm like, okay, it's time to roll out of this and roll back in, maybe roll it into XRP or something else, because I saw where things were going. Those are the kind of decisions that you as investors, and again, none of this is financial advice, but you've got to be paying attention to the environments. And again, yes, we are here to make money. That is the bigger theme, so to speak. We talk to the mindset piece of that, what that money is going to do, but you don't want to sit in a project, in my opinion, so long to where it's become dead and there's nothing going on anymore. And now you've got this large bag where you could have moved it into another utility project, because of, like Alan said, we're seeing winners being chosen, right? And that's the macro view. So you have to be attuned to that environment for sure, or else you're going to be sitting with an empty bag.
Yeah.
Yep.
So true. Yeah. It's a great point, and that's where we're at, you know. And the neat thing is like I mentioned a few minutes ago, you haven't missed the starting gun. You know, the starting gun, it's going to be obvious which coin. I in my opinion, in the last probably 2 months, it's obvious that XRP is that coin. It shot up to number 3 and it sat there. And even when we have really bad news like the other day with BitPay and all that, or whatever it was, I can't remember who crashed the market the other day. Like XRP didn't even drop that much, and percentage wise, everybody was like, that news would have been devastating to the crypto market a year or two ago. But in particular, like the coins that hadn't moved or hadn't done anything at all, like XRP was for years, it didn't move. That tells me there's a massive amount of money in the liquidity is there now. Yeah. These coins now at the top are going to be the top coins. It's not going to jockey around like it used to. This is my opinion. And because the big money's in it.
Yeah,
it's strange that coins that like from the past, almost like your Litecoin, and XRP at that point, that was really big 6, 8 years ago, and now they're at the forefront again. It's like, that's cool too. You know what I mean? It's like people gave up on Litecoin, but its code is Bitcoin, and it's actually in a lot of ways better than Bitcoin in some ways. But there's going to be people around the world that are going to use it. Why? Because Bitcoin's $100,000 and it's not, so price has a big factor in a lot of this adoption that we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that Bybit hack, it was Bybit. That Bybit hack was something that I'll get on the soapbox. If any of y'all folks listening still don't have your stuff on exchanges, and Alan's video yesterday kind of hit on this as well, but get your stuff off of the exchanges. It's so, if you don't like hardware wallets, then get a web wallet or whatever, but get it off the exchanges. And because at any given time, you don't know what's going to happen. And I'm still waiting to see what comes out with that Bybit. It seemed a little suspicious how that occurred to me, understanding technology. I'm not sure how that happened, honestly, but we'll see. But Ethereum, man, they took a bunch of it, and but the bottom line is get your stuff off the exchanges and be positioned. If you're in and out and you're investing, that's one thing. And I do keep a small bag, if you would, in some exchanges because I am in and out at different times to roll in and out of different projects. But the large majority of your holdings should be in a cold storage device off the exchanges, in my opinion. And that's part of the lessons learned, because I've had my stuff going back in 2021, the whole Celsius thing, I got swallowed up into that and lost a lot of capital in that environment because I chose to chase ROI, and it was an indiscriminate amount. I'm thinking, I can earn 7%. This is great. Well, in the grand scheme of thing, I lost about 150% because I lost all of my assets that were on that platform. So, we gotta be careful, and that's why I try to put out there. Staking's awesome as long as it's liquid staking and you still control your bag and you own your keys. It's absolutely phenomenal. But you got to understand the technology and don't chase the ROI so much. Just sit back, relax, and it's going to come to us.
I want to talk about that Bybit thing just real quick, and then I'll let you go, Brent. The Bybit thing for me, I never watched the market ever, and there I was watching the market because I was seeing volume come into the market, a massive amount of volume, and Bitcoin in particular was shooting, and XRP were shooting up. And I was like looking at it and I was like, man, this thing is absolutely going to blow right through $100,000. And I said to myself, okay, here we go. We're going to break out of this trading zone that it's been in for about, I don't know, whatever, 5-6 weeks now, right? This zone that it's been in. And here we go. It's the Bitcoin's about to break right through it. And right about when that happened, Bybit got hacked, like at the exact perfect time for it not to break 100K. And maybe it's coincidence. Maybe, maybe you don't believe there are such things as coincidences.
We're not allowed to believe in such things. Right, Fox Mulder? Right?
Because it dropped down like a hot knife through butter. I was just like, I've never seen it fall faster than it did the other day. Never. Within 10 minutes, it was down $5,000. I'm talking about Bitcoin. And I was like,
I was pissing off the roof.
Yeah. And I was like, something happened. Somebody kicked a plug somewhere. But let me talk about what I think about happened there. Now, I don't know, Zip, you know way more about the technical side of the background of all this stuff with your abilities and what you do for a living. But here's my speculation. They made it is true that they made a mistake. the way they handled the transaction left themselves vulnerable, clearly. Okay. Well, from the knowledge I have of this incident. What gets me is that somebody, Johnny on the spot at the split second that it happened, was ready to take advantage of that. Okay. And it's just a little bit beyond my ability to understand security to say, oh yeah, we always do it like this. So yeah, that's the right one. We're just going to go with that one without double checking anything. And they just went with it. Really sounds suspect to me. So that's kind of what I took away from the whole thing. But let's remember, the organization that took it is real, if you will, and does exist. And it's not the first time they've penetrated systems, if you will. So
Oh my.
on that note, I have nothing but questions, especially for somebody with your knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the key. And it's easy for us. Basically, it's easy to become relaxed because you're in this every day, and we've sent transactions 1,000 times, and that's basically what happened. What I gather, and again, I'm sure there's more behind the curtain, but instead of validating and checking exactly like you should do every time, because they were swapping out of a cold wallet to a warm wallet to the hot wallet so they could pull more liquidity into the exchange. It would appear by the interview or when the Bybit, CEO came out, it just became a little bit lackadaisical. And it's just like, well, I've sent billions of dollars previously, and I've done this 1,000 times. And instead of following the prudent steps that you would go through every time, I mean, I don't know about you guys. Every time I send anything, I always send a test spot of money. Still to this day, I just don't want to take a chance, even though I've done it 1,000 times and the muscle memory's there. I want to make sure I follow my procedures every time. And that's just a word of caution for us out there that it only takes one wrong click of the button. And, and it's still very, very difficult. And that's why it's, self-custodian is a job. And you just got to be very proactive and just take your time. But yeah, I think there's more to it. Like you said, Alan, I don't know if we have all of the information yet. Luckily, it seems like they have enough backing and insurance that everyone will be made whole. Unlike what I went through with Celsius. So thank goodness for that, because it's a big exchange. But fundamentally, from a technical perspective, it's like, how in the hell did this happen? It's just quite unbelievable. But just got to be cautious. It's still some wild, wild west out there in many instances.
And that goes back to what I was saying a minute ago. Wall Street's coming, and you're going to be able to buy, sell, trade everything through that. And those slip-ups aren't going to happen. And they're more trusted systems. Do I like that? No. Do I think that's the way we should be going? No. But everybody seems really fired up about getting legislation and the big guys and the banking and the system involved in crypto. And it's my largest fear. Let's remember, the problem with the system today on a fundamental first basis issue is central banking. And now we're centralizing crypto. And it's been my biggest fear, and it is my biggest fear. And I know I don't like to put fears out there and talk about them much, but we have to be sure about what we're doing. And we have to make sure that the people who are doing it are caring about the little people. Yeah, great. You and I have the big house on the hill. Yeah, fantastic for you and I. But the system can control people going forward even better with this sort of technology. And that cannot occur on my watch. I don't care how rich I get. It doesn't matter to me on that. Yeah. Control is what they've always been after. And I'm not trying to play tinfoil hat guy here today. I'm just trying to say, man, they can keep you from living your life easier with blockchain or technology than they could before. Scary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. They can shut it off in a heartbeat. And, that was the whole, back in 2009, when Bitcoin hit the scene, that was the whole point of it being outside of the system, and having peer-to-peer capability and being decentralized away from the larger government perspective. And that's one thing I was happy to see with, whether you're with him, against him, or whatever. I don't really do politics, but Trump, with him at least stating that the United States will not go to a CBDC. However, I think the fallacy in that most people, and interesting to hear your perspective on this maybe, but just because we're not doing a CBDC, just to your point, and we're doing stable coins and everything at the front end, which will be the front end mechanism, they can still turn that on. They may not be saying it's a central digital bank currency, but it is centralized, and they're just not calling it a CBDC and using that coin phrase because there's so much pushback that comes from that. So they're kind of just putting a flower around it, so to speak, a different terminology, but it's still going to be centralized. And if you're doing anything that they may or may not like in the future, that's the fear. And that's what I hear you saying, that you can be controlled and they're going to know where every dollar is going.
Yeah, man, I'm so glad somebody said it on our channel, Zip, and you just did. I just want to echo what you both said on all of that. We to kind of get into the chat here too, and to bring everybody in. Create was talking too about quantum computing, and we were talking about hacks. And Zip, do you have any insight or information, or any vision on, as AI becomes adopted and people kind of slowly do their, web 1.0, they use their chat GPT to be their new XRP encyclopedia. What does the future look like to you with quantum computing, with potential hacks, with the the potential for what my dad was saying, where it's like we truly have to use this and live this responsibly and for the people in a way that is going to be beneficial to us. Do you see kind of a one way to do it, the other way to do it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't. I mean, quantum computing is coming. I mean, they've been talking about it for years, and quite honestly, the technology's already there. They just haven't exposed it yet, like many things, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what that does with regards to what we're talking about, I don't know. But AI, I do know, will be part of this technology change, and it's going to be utilized. I mean, they're already talking about it, and you can see the fighting going on between, Elon and OpenAI, and what's going on in regards of AI development and capabilities. Now, Elon wants to utilize it from a holistic view and to be beneficial to humanity. And he's saying the right key phrases that, AI is a nuclear bomb, basically, that could go off. And if we don't control it correctly, fundamentally and foundationally, I don't know exactly where we'll go, but they're talking about you're basically going to have AI in your pocket, and you already do, to where it's going to, again, and it's how you use the capability, like anything. It's just like gun ownership or a gun. You can pull the trigger and point it at the wrong direction and be a bad person, or you can utilize it in a correct manner. And it's the same thing with this technology in AI. It'll be used for good and it'll be used for bad. From a good perspective, it is going to bring phenomenal capabilities as far as in the financial environment, ensuring that faster transactions can happen. You're going to have it in your pocket to where you can have your AI, call it Zips AI guy, and ask it, and it'll walk you through your daily life. I mean, that is coming. I mean, if you look back through the evolution of technology, I mean, years ago, we had a flip phone that didn't have any CPU value to it at all. Now we walk around with microcomputers in our pockets, and that evolution is coming. I think the large scary part about AI is what it can do autonomously. And I don't know what that looks like. I'm just kind of still evaluating it. And again, I think it's how you use the technology, again, not what the technology is at its center.
That's right.
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of something I say on this show all the time. Okay. And it leads to our last two subjects. The answer to tyranny is crypto. The answer to tyranny is AI. It can be just like you said. It's like a knife. You can cut a birthday cake with it, or you can stab somebody with it, right? It can be used as mankind, as in my words that I like to use, universal consciousness wants it to be. We have to remember, God, I forgot the kid's name. He was so brilliant. He wrote a paper. He was out of Stanford, and he wrote an incredible paper about AI is just what we teach it. And it's time we stop teaching it hate. And that's all you have to do. It's sort of like that little incident that happened in 2020. It's like, why are we creating those diseases in labs or test rooms? Why? Why do we need that? Like, that's the bigger question for humanity. Why do we need these mega weapons? Why do we need all that stuff? We don't. Okay. These viruses that they're creating out of labs is ridiculous. And that's the key. Like, if we teach prosperity for all mankind and love and appreciation for mankind, that's what AI is going to give us. We just need to make sure that the people in control of AI, or who are lining it all up, understand that is the free will of 90, I'm going to call it 99% of the people on this planet want that. Unfortunately, throughout man's history, we find psychopaths to run our communities. And that we got to get better at. And I've done a few videos about this, but in my opinion, that's what AI is going to be very good at. AI is going to go, well, let me do all this calculate. Oh, here's your problem. It's these freaks at the top. There's your problem. They're stealing all your money and they're manipulating your lives. I'm hoping that is where we go with AI. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense, Dad. Something just in the chat now, we're talking about, droids and robots,
Terminators for everybody.
A robot for everybody, is that necessary? And I think right now, all of us not having a robot in our home, somewhere on the fence, one side or the other, or right on top of it, kind of looking at both sides. Does it negate our bodies and what we can do on a day-to-day basis, and what we're capable of, and how we naturally expand in our life? That to me is the kind of argument against, and the argument of like, well, like what you guys are saying, it's like, well, let's just use it as, this little helper that hands me something, or is an information giver, or whatever you want to use it for, a tool for people. versus something that could potentially be used what humanity has used other tools for in the past, which is very destructive and potentially harmful. And with the way that technology is expanding and growing now, really, really detrimental to, what could be and what could happen.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like I'm not doing an anti technology bit. I don't think any of us are. It's use, not just use caution, but what do you want to use this tool for? And like what, as on a broad sense, it's one thing that you can do something, but should you? Do you want to use it for that? Uh,
Yeah, exactly, Brent. That's the
is
thing.
a pry bar used to pull up nails, or to blow out somebody's windows and steal their radio? It's like,
Yeah, exactly. And obviously AI could take out the utility of human existence if you allowed it to do that. And that's like anything. If you can just use it to enhance your life and not compartmentalize your life, and maybe some of the more tedious things that our day-to-day lives we have to deal with, it could handle that. But you don't want to take out the human perspective. You don't want it to be robotic. You don't want to become a robot to where we don't have individualism and thought anymore, because everything's being regurgitated from an AI module. And all of that is just algorithmic anyhow. And as Alan was saying, it's how the AI is fed. So it's all data models. That's all it is. It's nothing special. It's data. It's just scraping and collection of that data. But where is the data coming from? So if you feed it bad, just like any other programming language, if you feed it bad input data, it's going to export bad output data. So yes, that's the word of caution with AI. And again, it's going to be part of our society without a doubt. And it's just the utilization of how we individually use it in our environments. And we want to keep the humanity piece of aspect of ourselves, that individualism, that special part of what being a human is actually about, is what we want to make sure we maintain and we don't lose that existence.
Yeah. Thank you for speaking to that, Zip. I agree.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Well, gentlemen, we should think about closing this thing up.
What do you got, like a sauna appointment or something?
I've got a whole day ahead of me. I mean, we're an hour and 12 into this. So
I do too. I almost didn't even make it here. My father had to start calling me on the phone to wake me up this morning. That is a true story.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
Yeah, it's great.
No, you showed up.
Needed the
you
sleep.
Rallied.
I was thinking about this a minute ago. This is already my new favorite live. We've had some really good ones in the past, but this is, when you can really go round table and you really kind of feel and echo what somebody is giving to you and what you're receiving and what you want to give back to them. I just want to give back good to you, Zip. And, I'm so excited to be, I'm a very new supporter of your channel. But I can't wait to get on there and, follow you now, because I'm going to remember this show. This is a really fun conversation.
It's been an absolute blast. I've appreciated it, and it's been absolutely fun. We got any comments in there before we could take 5 minutes, maybe, Alan, if you have 5 minutes, and
sure.
Let's dig into some tech stuff. If you got questions, let's hit on some specific questions. If anybody has anything, let's throw them out there.
Yeah,
love that.
The one thing I want to say is that let's, before we forget this, I'm going to be Zip and I are going to be hanging out at the proper party.
Let's go.
Yeah. So you can meet him there. That'll be cool. He's probably going to be at my table or hopefully close. And we're gonna. Are you going to Vegas, Sid?
No, I can't make it to Vegas because I have that other commitment where we're going to come out to San Diego and hopefully meet up with you the following week.
Cool. I'm hopefully I can make that, but boy, May is really packed for me. Just crazy now. Yeah.
Yeah, but looking forward to the proper party. And for anybody that's in the Florida area, Panhandle area, say 30A, Destin, all that area there. If you're in that environment and you want to do some local meetups, maybe that's something we can start to put together as well. Because again, it's about resonating with folks and getting like-minded folks together, because I don't have all the answers and I'm going to trip over it a few times, I'm sure. And but having a community of like-minded folks, just like we're doing today, is what it's all about. And that's why I'm excited about the proper party and heading down to Venice Beach area in Florida and hanging out with Alan and a bunch of other folks.
Yeah. Rob.
Yeah.
XRP 007. Yeah.
Our girl Becky's got a question for you, Zip. She really enjoyed the time with you. Do you have an X account?
Yes, I do. It's at Zips Tips 2024. And I'm generally out there posting and reposting different things and just keeping up with all the world of crypto mostly on there. But you'll see some mindset stuff out there as well. Again, for me, it's all frequency and mindset. So, yep, out there on X, join us out there and let's build that up as well.
What do you? I got a question for you. What do you mean by frequency?
So frequency, as far as your collective and your positivity and who you are as a human being, kind of what we were talking about AI and your human individualism. So frequencies, and again, this is why you guys resonate with me. I believe that as you're walking through this life, there is a certain attractant that you can find, that you do find, and that resonates with different folks as you're walking because of who they are. And sometimes they don't even, you feel this when certain people walk into the room and you just know that there is for me, a positivity and a way about them that in their directive of life and where they're going, it draws you to them. And that's kind of what I mean by frequency. Obviously, there's a little bit more, some other things that go into that. But at the lowest level, that's really what it is, Brent.
Yeah. Great explanation, actually.
I'd walk up and hug you right now if I could.
Thanks, Larry.
Larry,
yeah, brother.
Man, much love. So good to see you in the chat today.
I want to. I want to mention something. I want to mention something else too. Boy, don't let me forget before we leave the show. I have another announcement, but. Somebody asked where that thing's going to be. You can look it up on the proper party. I think Joanna can post it in here as well. Proper party, and it is March 29 and 30, and it's in Venice Island, Florida. Is that correct, Sid? That's correct, right?
Yeah, right. Just a little bit south of Sarasota, Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, that sounds sweet.
And I'm going to be flying in the day before and flying out the day after. So, and I just want to hang out with everybody that's going to be there. Let's just do it.
Joanna, are you going? Is Joanna going?
I don't think so. I know she's trying to make Vegas, though. She and her daughter are going to try.
Nice. Okay, yeah. Good.
I have an announcement to make before we get off of here. Yes, thanks, Joanna. There's the proper party link right down there. Somebody was asking for it. I have an announcement. I'm going to be in Sedona, Arizona for 3 days. And let's see, it's February 20, 21, and 22. And I'm just hanging out all day. I'm going to hang out with whoever shows up. because the wife and I are bringing the camper. We're going to be there for like 5 days, but those 3 days in particular, she's going to be at a retreat that I won't be attending. So I've got all day to either go fly fishing, hang out, grill something, or just hang out and do a hike with everybody. So if you have that time to meet up with me in Sedona, please do. Anyway, that'll be fun.
I've been to Sedona with my dad. That was a good time, man. God, that was a good time.
What a great little spot.
We had our little antennas up, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Yeah.
They're not big antennas, but solid antenna up there. It's such a beautiful place, and if you get a chance to meet up, with us ever, and speaking to my dad, give it a go. I'm so glad that you're traveling, Dad, and doing the Florida trip, doing Arizona, doing Vegas. That's awesome, man. That's good to hear.
Sorry, you guys.
By the way, so
March 2021.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing. Is like you were announcing that you were going to be randomly in Sedona.
In Sedona today.
Like a year from today, like a year.
Yeah, a year from
now, I'm going to be in Sedona, Arizona, and I'm going to be
time traveler.
Time traveler on top of the hill.
Yeah. Well, I'm there in spirit.
Yeah.
Today, but yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Joanna.
My schedule is so crazy. You would think a guy that lives out in the middle of nowhere would not have a busy schedule, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. So 22 of March, I will be there in Sedona. 29-30, I will be of March, I will be in Venice Island. I believe it's called Venice Beach. Venice Beach is California, so I think it's Venice Island. I believe it's called.
You're right. Venice Island. Yep, right below Sarasota. Just a hop, skip, and a jump.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited about it. And Vegas. Oh my God, do we have something planned? And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
It just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Brent and I did a
Super Bowl stuff.
Kind of a business. We did a business meeting last Wednesday night with a group that's going to promote us, should I say us, everybody who's at the show at our booth. And they're as excited to work with us as we are to work with them. And it's just going to be in many countries live, and it's just going to be a lot of fun, guys. I'm so excited about all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to see what you all are cooking up with that.
Oh, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
It's so funny. It's like we don't even know how big it's gonna be, but it always, how it is that when you start, trusting people and connecting with people, and we end up with somebody like you coming on the show today, and we end up with people that, like, at the end of the the call, online, to see all of them, we're like, hey man, I love you, and I'm so excited to work with you, and I can't believe how lucky we are. It all comes together, it just comes together. And thank you, Dad, for making it happen the way that you have for our community, for me. I'm always appreciative of that.
Yeah. There's a great Jack Johnson line, and it's good to be the one that you want, because all I want is you. It's such a simple thing, but it's like when two things come together like that, it's just like, wow, I just really want these people I want them. And then they're like, when you get an interview with them, they're like, man, we can't even believe we're working with you guys. we're the lucky ones. No, you're not lucky. We're the lucky ones. And it's like that. So perfect unity of what you're talking about.
It's going to be a good time, and who knows what happens by that point as far as price go up, price action, and all this stuff that's going on. It may be a big party.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
It might.
All right, let's get out of here, kids. It's just know that we all appreciate everybody in the chat and your comments. Sorry we didn't get to. There weren't that many questions. I was kind of looking around. We will have Zip on again. He's just been crushing it.
That was too good. That was way too good. And
been a lot of fun.
Please support him and his channel. I'm going to, and we're excited to follow you, brother, and see where your personal journey takes you. You know, in your creative venture with this. I'm already sold, man. I can't wait to talk to you more and watch you and see what you put out there. Thank you for being with us.
No, absolutely. I've again appreciate everything and appreciate the community as a whole. And we're all in this journey of crypto together. And my tagline is, I'm just trying to get everyone across the finish line and just understand where you are and what you hold, and let's not make any bad mistakes.
Yep.
Thanks. Yep. Check his channel out, you guys. He has so much wisdom about what's going on, and he really does his research. And he's so good at what we're not. Our channel's a different angle, but to each their own, and everybody has their gift. And Zip totally is crushing it. So I think you guys are going to get a lot of info from his knowledge background, and the way he presents it is very short, tidy, and very clean. And I know it's going to blow up. So check it out, guys.
All right.
Okay, let's get out of here.
Peace be the journey, everyone.
We'll see everybody. Zip is out.
Zip is out.